Best for me is to have this interaction with the MUJ crossover and hope that in the course of this, I can then unveil the entrepreneurship intervention program. But quite ordinarily, I think that coming to the NUJ Press Center, has become habitual for most of us that have had a career in politics, that once in a while, it's important to engage and to interact with you. I have the mandate for industry at the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment as Minister of State for Industry. A few times I've come to Calabar with the MD of BOI. All of that is an advancement of the need for government and the need for everyone to be able to key in. At the beginning of the administration of the President Siwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCMR, they had done some level of intervention, about a 200 billion naira, 15 billion was for grants, and then 75 billion was for MSMEs, another 75 billion was for manufacturing. He's continued to do so in the 2025 budget. There was a 500 billion that was earmarked for the Bank of Industry to continue to assist it maintain the single-digit interest rates. The challenges remain, but work has to be done. So my hope is that the little contribution that I here make by unveiling this entrepreneurship intervention also adds to the efforts of the Governor of Cross River, His Excellency Senator Prince Bassio too, who just some weeks back, I think he also did the same intervention as government for our retirees, and he has continued to do so. He's continued to support the work of MEDA. It's also my understanding that the government and the Governor of Cross River has also made available a 1 billion counterpart to the BOI, so that the BOI has a program in which whichever authority, whether it's government, whether it is private, is able to put out some sum of money. BOI is able to match that same sum for the benefit of its people. So the 1 billion provided by the state government to BOI is to enable BOI to also match that 1 billion with another 1 billion, for the interest of Cross River people. So I think it's important that the journalists are able to promote this, are able to get people informed about what it is. As an individual, I think that I've had encounters and experience of a lot of people who graduate from school, they stay upwards of 5, 10, 15 years. They can't get jobs, they can't get employment. And it's important for us to continue to push and to make the case that not necessarily employment. It mustn't be employment. There has to be some other way. So for me, it's an opportunity to continue to do the work that we've tried to always do. I've always announced very proudly that the reason I'm in public office is to see how I can create and I can add to the happiness of people. I may not be giving all the billions that need to be given, but we're starting somewhere. Our hope is to sustain this effort. The idea is that if every beneficiary, is going to be able to present some proposal that are going to require up to 500,000, to fund. At that first approximation, we're going to have about 1,000 cross-Riverians that are going to be beneficiaries of this program. Even though, as the details may be unveiled later, when I asked and I questioned the team, I said, what about our business people, our artisans who are not able to access, the various pages where all this is supposed to appear, the websites and all that. And every day they are contributing to the economy of Cross River. Every day they are eking out a living. How do we respond to them? So there's also some provision and some allowance for those category of artisans who are involved in those, little jobs and little businesses. But just to also say that for a country that's about 220 million people, we boast and we say that we have about 40 million plus MSMEs. And that these, have, in their employment, about 80% of the population. They contribute to Nigeria's business development and growth. And that Cross River must be part of this pool. So what we're making available, is outside what the Bank of Industry and other agencies of government that are within my mandate as Minister of State for Industry, namely the NHDDC, SMIDAN, the Bank of Industry, and all those agencies. This is outside what they continue to do and what they're going to keep doing. In the last couple of weeks, I've had some text messages and some calls from Crossivarians calling to thank me that BOI has given them this, has given them that, as part of what BOI should do. What is being unveiled today is a private, personal project. It's my own contribution to the ecosystem. So it's a grant, it's not a loan, but it's also a grant that is going to be very stringent. It's not going to be dash money for purposes of politics. It's going to be money that is intended to grow our economy and to get people to do better. That is why they commit. I'm glad to have the privilege to have Agba Jalingo that is seated here with us, who is part of what we are doing. I've read, a few people have sent some commentaries to me, in terms of what statements people have made about the involvement of Agba Jalingo. Some people have said that as long as he's involved, it means that this project will happen. Today's date, 29th of August, 2025, the year of our Lord. I have the privilege to formally, therefore, unveil the Senator John Enoh intervention program for entrepreneurs, for MSMEs, for the good of our citizenry and its own contribution to the good of Cross River State. I thank everyone.
The beneficiaries are in two categories. We have those in the formal sector and people in the informal sector. Because he also asked questions, he was very, very emphatic about the welders, the people who fry akara in the village, the vulcanizers and the rest of them. So we had to also find a way to accommodate them in the program. For the formal sector, people will have to apply through a website. The website is already available, and I will mention it for us here. And then even when we leave here, we'll try the best we can to publicize it for everybody. Those in the informal sector, forms have been printed, and arrangements have also been made to see how we can take them around the 18 local governments for people to access those forms, fill them, give us the information we want, because we're going to collect a lot of data about everybody that will participate in this program. 100,000 to 500,000 naira each, while 150,000 naira will be available for those in the informal sector. The program will run in 4 batches. For each of the batches, there will be 150 beneficiaries in the formal business sector and 325 beneficiaries in the informal business sector for each of the batches. The beneficiaries will be evenly distributed across the 18 local government areas in Cross River State. And the beneficiaries shall also be picked based on the LGA where the business is located and not LGA of origin. So even if you are from Obudu, for instance, and your business is in Calabar, it's not going to be based on LGA of origin. As simple as that. Then selected beneficiaries will undergo a compulsory 1-week entrepreneurship training at the EDC, but that has been separated into the 3 senatorial districts. So 1 location in each of the 3 senatorial districts. Then the training, okay, yeah, I've said that. Then of course the official website is hmindustry.ng. HN, you will follow it on the same avenues that we have been reaching you. I also want to finally add that to thank the minister for giving me the opportunity to participate in this and assure Crossivarians that not a dime of this money will be stolen. That is the reason we formed a team. It's a private initiative, and I want to assure everybody that 1 naira will not be stolen from this. A hunter that goes to the forest and comes back with a goat is actually a thief, because goats do not live in the forest. Not 1 naira will be stolen. I assure you about that. God bless you.